James Reed woke up with a gasp, his body covered in sweat. The dreams were getting worse every night for the past week. He saw strange battles in space, felt the weight of weapons he had never held, and heard orders in a language he somehow understood, but couldn't speak while awake. "Not again," he muttered, checking the clock. 4:13 a.m. Too early to get up, too late to fall back asleep. As a former Special Forces soldier now working security for the government, James was used to stress and bad dreams. But these were different. They felt like memories. Dr. Marcus Wilson stared at his computer screen in disbelief. He ran the test again, but the results stayed the same. There was something strange in the DNA samples he was studying. "This can't be right," he said to himself. He had found what looked like artificial markers in human genetic code, markers designed to stay dormant until activated by something specific. He picked up his phone. This wasn't something he could keep to himself. 3 days later, strange objects began appearing around the world. Silver, smooth, and shaped like eggs, they simply showed up overnight in major cities. No one knew how they got there. When touched, they did nothing, but people reported feeling strange near them, as if the objects were waiting for something. In Washington, D.C., Director Evans of the Earth Defense Initiative called an emergency meeting. "What do we know about these objects?" he asked the room full of scientists and military officers. "Not much," said a scientist. "They're made of a material we can't identify. They don't seem to do anything, but they're emitting a low-level energy field we don't understand, and they just appeared. No one saw how they got here." "None, sir. One moment they weren't there, the next they were," answered Admiral Stone, commander of the newly formed Space Fleet. Director Evans frowned. "I don't like it. Quarantine all of them. No civilian contact." James was assigned to the containment team for the object found in New York City. He stood guard as scientists ran tests, trying not to think about his dreams. During a break, he found himself alone with the object. Something pulled him toward it. Without thinking, he reached out and touched its smooth surface. The world exploded into light. Images flooded his mind. Stars, battles, strange beings giving orders. He saw Earth, but thousands of years ago. He saw beings that looked like tall, thin humans with silver skin working on primitive humans, changing them, making them stronger, faster, more aggressive. He heard a name, the Architects. When he came back to his senses, he was on the floor, and the object was glowing with a soft blue light. "Reed, what happened?" shouted his commander, rushing in. I don't know. I got dizzy and must have touched it when I fell," James lied. Before anyone could ask more questions, all their phones beeped at once. An emergency broadcast flashed across the world. People stared at their screens as satellites showed a massive ship entering the solar system. It was unlike anything humans had built, sleek, silver, and impossibly large. Then every screen, radio, and communication device on Earth broadcast the same message: "Our creations, our weapons. We have returned to claim what is ours." The world went into panic, but James felt a cold certainty. These were the beings from his dreams, the Architects. In an emergency United Nations meeting, world leaders tried to make sense of what was happening. Dr. Wilson was brought in to explain his discovery. "The genetic markers I found suggest that something, or someone, modified human DNA in our distant past," he explained. "These modifications look designed to make humans better fighters. Faster reflexes, stronger muscles, better at healing. But, most importantly, there are dormant sections that seem designed to respond to a specific signal, like the signal these objects might be sending." "Like a genetic key?" asked Director Evans. "Exactly," said Dr. Wilson. "I believe these Architects, as they call themselves, created humans as warriors. And now they've come back to use us for whatever war they're fighting." 3 days after their arrival, the Architects sent another message. "Earth will provide It's warriors. The way genetic keys have been activated, those who bear the marks will serve as intended. Resistance is not an option. The war approaches, and we require our weapons. Reports started coming in of people developing strange abilities. Increased strength, faster healing, enhanced senses. James was one of them. His reflexes had become so fast he could catch flies mid-air without trying. His night vision had improved dramatically, and the dreams were now clearer than ever. The world governments united in an emergency alliance and issued a response. Humanity belongs to itself. We will not serve as weapons in your war. The architect ship's response was immediate. A smaller vessel detached and headed toward Earth. Fear spread that they would attack, but instead it entered orbit and sent down a single being. Tall, silver-skinned, with eyes like liquid mercury. The emissary. "You misunderstand," it said, in perfect English during a broadcast meeting with world leaders. "You were made for this purpose. It is your function. Just as a hammer does not choose whether to strike a nail, you do not choose whether to fight our war. The enemy approaches, the confluence, a threat to all life. We require our weapons." Director Evans stood up. "We are not tools. We are people, with our own will." The emissary tilted its head, looking confused by the concept. "Your will was our gift to make you better warriors," it said. "But the choice is not yours." James and 11 others like him were gathered at a secret facility. All had touched the objects. All had developed enhanced abilities. All had the dreams. "We need to understand what's happening to you," Dr. Wilson told them. "And we need to figure out how to use it to protect Earth, not serve these architects." That night, James dreamed again. But this time he saw something new. Humans fighting back against the architects, driving them away from Earth thousands of years ago. He saw the architects' surprise as their weapons turned against them. He woke up understanding. They lost control of us once before. He told the others the next morning. That's why they left. We weren't just weapons. We evolved beyond their control. As he spoke, alarms blared. The architect ship was powering up some kind of energy weapon, aiming at Earth. "They're not asking anymore," said Admiral Stone, rushing into the room. "They're taking what they want." James felt something stirring inside him, ancient knowledge, buried in his activated genes. "I know how their weapons work," he said, surprising himself. "And I think I know how we can fight back." The first battle for humanity's freedom was about to begin. The architect's ship fired its weapon. A beam of bright blue light shot toward Earth. Everyone braced for destruction, but instead the beam split into thousands of smaller beams that touched down across the planet. "What are they doing?" Admiral Stone asked, watching the satellite feed. Dr. Wilson checked his instruments. "It's not a destructive beam. It's activating something." James felt a strange tingling throughout his body. Others like him felt it, too. The dormant genetic code inside them was waking up even more. "They're turning us on like machines," James said through gritted teeth. Across the world, thousands of people suddenly developed abilities similar to James's group. Some grew stronger. Some moved faster. Some could hear or see things from great distances, and all of them started having the dreams. 3 days later, James could bench press 500 pounds without breaking a sweat. His speed tests showed he could run faster than any Olympic athlete. But the changes weren't just physical. "I can read their language now," he told Dr. Wilson during Orbital Battlefield. The clash was brutal, lasers and energy blasts painting the void with deadly color. The confluent ships adapted quickly, shifting their forms and tactics with an eerie fluidity, forcing humanity's fleet to scramble and adjust on the fly. James and Lisa coordinated with the defense fleet, their enhanced abilities allowing them to process battle data and relay strategies faster than any normal human. The Guardian monitored the enemy movements, its advanced logic helping predict the confluence's next maneuvers. Despite heavy losses, the fleet managed to hold the line. But the cost was high. Many ships destroyed, crews lost. The confluence retreated temporarily, but their ominous presence remained, a shadow looming just beyond Mars. Back on Earth, tension was palpable. Governments debated whether to negotiate with the architects, fight on two fronts, or risk uniting all activated humans for a final stand. James knew the choice was clear. Humanity had to fight, not as pawns, but as free warriors defending their home. In the following days, James, Lisa, and the Guardian worked tirelessly to unlock more of the dormant knowledge hidden in their genes, searching for any edge against the twin threats. The dreams intensified, revealing glimpses of past battles and forgotten technologies. Then, a new message came. Not from the architects or the confluence, but from deep space, encrypted in an ancient code only the activated could decipher. It was a warning and a plea. An ancient coalition of civilizations had once united against the confluence and left behind a weapon powerful enough to end the war. James's eyes locked with Lisa's, determination burning bright. This was their chance to turn the tide. The war for Earth's freedom was far from over. But now, hope had found a voice. In the command center on Earth, James, Lisa, and the others watched the battle unfold. The confluence ships moved in ways that defied normal physics, stretching, reforming, shifting, while human weapons struck them. "They're adapting," Lisa observed, her tactical mind quickly recognizing a pattern. Each time they hit the enemy, the confluence changed to resist that weapon. But humanity had an unexpected advantage: unpredictability. While the architect's strategy was logical and predictable, humans fought with intuition and creativity. "Attack pattern Delta," Admiral Stone ordered over the comm. This wasn't a standard military maneuver, but one Lisa had designed specifically for this battle. The Earth ships broke formation, each attacking from a different angle with a variety of weapons. The confluence couldn't adapt to all the attacks at once. 3 enemy ships exploded before the rest retreated beyond Neptune. It was humanity's first victory against the confluence. "This is fascinating," said Thomas Gray, eyes wide with excitement. The historian had been brought in to help interpret the ancient sites the Guardian was revealing around Earth. They stood inside a mountain in Tibet, where a hidden architect base had been sealed for thousands of years. These records show the architects used Earth for more than just breeding warriors, Thomas explained, studying the symbols on the walls. They were fleeing the confluence even back then. Earth was a hidden outpost where they created weapons, us, who could fight in ways the confluence couldn't predict. James reached out and touched a strange device in the center of the room. It hummed to life, projecting a holographic map of hundreds of stars. "What are these?" Lisa asked. The Guardian stepped forward. "These are worlds where human-derived warriors were sent. The architects took early humans and seeded them across many planets, creating variations suited for different environments." "You mean there are other humans out there?" James asked in shock. "Not exactly humans," the Guardian corrected. "Modified for their worlds, but sharing the same genetic base. Your cousins, you might say." Lisa studied the map closely. "Some stars have different markings. Those are worlds touched by the Shapers," the Guardian explained. "The Shapers?" Dr. Wilson asked, intrigued. "The third species I mentioned," the Guardian replied. "They believed the architect's use of sentient beings as weapons was wrong. They modified some of the human-derived species, including yours, to develop beyond their programming. They gave you the potential for true free will." Back on Earth, the architects were growing impatient. Their main fleet had begun forcibly taking activated humans, converting them into drone warriors with no will of their own. "We're losing people every day," Director Evans reported grimly. But something unexpected was happening. In battles against the confluence, human forces were showing remarkable success. Admiral Stone's fleet had engaged the enemy 3 more times, winning each encounter. The Confluence doesn't understand how we fight, Lisa explained during a strategy meeting. They expect logical patterns, but humans use instinct and emotion in combat. We surprise them. Even the architects seemed surprised by humanity's effectiveness. The emissary requested another meeting. Your resistance to control makes you inefficient weapons, it stated. Yet your victories against the Confluence are impressive. The Architect High Command is considering a proposal. Serve willingly as allies rather than controlled weapons. We'll consider it, Director Evans replied cautiously. After the emissary left, James turned to the Guardian. They're getting desperate, aren't they? The Guardian nodded. The main Architect fleet has suffered defeats against the Confluence. They need you more than they want to admit. Deep beneath the Sahara Desert, James and Lisa activated another ancient facility, different from the others. This wasn't built by the architects? No, Lisa said, studying the controls. This is Shaper technology. The Guardian confirmed it. When the central device activated, a star map even larger than the previous one appeared, revealing migration routes connecting Earth to dozens of worlds. The Shapers helped some humans escape architect control, the Guardian explained. They established colonies on these worlds, free from interference. We need to find them, James said. If there are other human-derived species out there, maybe they'll help us. As Lisa studied the map, the Guardian observed her closely. You're different from the others, it said. Your genetic markers are not just architect work. You have strong Shaper modifications. What does that mean? Lisa asked. It means you might be the key to defeating both the architects and the Confluence. The Shapers designed their modifications to counter architect control systems eventually. Suddenly, an alarm blared. Admiral Stone's voice came over their communicators. The Confluence has launched a full-scale attack on our outer defenses. All personnel return to base immediately. Hurrying back to their ship, James looked at Lisa with new understanding. You're not just a tactical officer. You're a weapon against our creators. Lisa's eyes showed determination. Maybe we all are. Maybe that's our hidden legacy. We were designed as weapons, but we get to choose who we fight for. Outside, the sky darkened as Confluence ships entered Earth's atmosphere. The real war had begun. The Confluence attack was unlike anything Earth had faced. Their ships didn't just fire weapons. They released small pods that attached to buildings, vehicles, even people. These pods spread and connected, forming networks that began taking over everything they touched. They're not destroying, James realized, watching from the command center. They're assimilating. Admiral Stone directed Earth's defenses with calm precision, but the situation looked grim. Confluence forces had landed in 12 major cities. The strange organic technology spread like a disease. Then, unexpectedly, the main architect fleet, which had been demanding Earth's surrender, began attacking the Confluence ships. For the moment, humanity had an unlikely ally. They're protecting their investment, the Guardian explained. They still see you as their weapons, not as beings to be saved. Director Evans made a difficult decision. We'll coordinate with the architects against the Confluence, but maintain our independence. 3 days into the battle, Earth forces discovered the Confluence's weakness. All assimilated areas connected to central nodes. Destroy the nodes, and the assimilation retreats, Lisa explained, her tactical mind seeing the pattern. Cut off the Queen and the drones become disorganized. James led strike teams targeting these nodes, while Admiral Stone's fleet, now fighting alongside architect vessels, engaged Confluence ships in orbit. The coordinated attack worked. The Confluence forces began to retreat. Within a week, Earth had pushed them back beyond the moon. It was a victory, but everyone knew the Confluence would return stronger. In the aftermath, the emissary requested a meeting with Earth's leaders. You have proven effective against the Confluence. It said more effective than expected. The Architect High Command offers an alliance. What kind of alliance? Director Evans asked cautiously. We will share technology and intelligence. You will contribute warriors to the greater war, as equals, James insisted, not as your weapons. The emissary seemed uncomfortable but nodded. The terms are acceptable, given the circumstances. After the emissary left, the Guardian revealed something important. There is a way to contact the other human-derived species. The star map Lisa found includes communication coordinates. Can we reach them? James asked, hopeful. With architect communication technology, yes, the Guardian replied. But we must act quickly before the architect leadership realizes what we're doing. 3 weeks later, a strange ship entered Earth's orbit. It wasn't architect or confluence design. When it sent a message, everyone was shocked. The beings inside looked almost human, but with subtle differences. Blue-tinted skin, larger eyes, more slender builds. We are the Stellar Nomads, their leader introduced himself. We received your message. We too were created by the architects, but broke free generations ago. Commander Vex, as he called himself, came to Earth with representatives from 3 other human-derived species. Each had evolved differently on their worlds, but all shared the same origin: architect genetic engineering. The Shapers helped our ancestors escape, Vex explained during a meeting with Earth's leaders. They've been helping many species resist both the architects and the confluence. Why haven't we heard from the Shapers directly? Dr. Wilson asked. They work in secret, the Guardian answered. The architects have hunted them for millennia for interfering with their property. The meeting of human-derived species became known as the First Conclave. Representatives from Earth, the Stellar Nomads, the Desert Walkers, the Ocean Mines, and the Sky Reachers, all cousins of humanity, shared their histories and knowledge. We've all been fighting separate battles, Lisa realized. Imagine what we could do together, Commander Vex agreed. That's why we came, James said, feeling a growing sense of purpose. We form an alliance, not just with the architects, but among ourselves. Finally, the Guardian spoke. There are more rebel architects who would join you. Many of us believe the old ways are wrong. Plans were made, strategies formed. Earth would become the center of a new alliance, the Terran Alliance, uniting all human-derived species and rebel architects against both the controlling architect faction and the confluence. 2 months after the conclave, the confluence launched.